Hey there, Scads. You're back in my corner, my reading corner again. And this time I'm going to talk to you about one of my absolute favorite books called Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. And you can tell it's my favorite by how beat up the book is. So I am a huge fan of dystopian fantasy. It's actually one of my favorite things to read because utopian would be boring because everything's perfect. Dystopian fantasy, for those of you that don't know, is pretty much just the opposite of utopian. So yes, this is an entire series, and I can't tell you exactly how many books are in the series at this particular moment. I know that Orson Scott Card had just written 3 prequels to it, including a novella called The War of Gifts, which is funny and ironic. So this book is about a war with an alien race called the Buggers, who came to Earth way before our main character was ever even born, and this pilot named Mazer Rackham beat them back the first time. But they knew that the Buggers were going to be coming back, possibly. So they decided to take a preemptive strike and head to the Buggers' homeworld. And in order to do that, they take the most talented kids from every country in the world, take them up to a space station, and train them as soldiers. This is about one particular little boy who is gifted, severely gifted at commanding. And they think that he's going to be the one to lead the entire international fleet to victory. So they treat him absolutely horribly. Absolutely horribly. All throughout the thing, giving him tests he cannot win, sticking him with people who absolutely hate him, just seriously making his life a living hell for years and years and years. And then he finally gets his own army, and then the odds are stacked even more against him. And it's interesting to watch this character develop and grow, and then finally to break down completely. There are wonderful supporting characters, including Petra Arconia, Bean, Dink Minker, and a few others. And as the story continues, even as the entire series continues, it's not just Ender's story that you get to hear. It's also Bean's, and Petra's, and Ender's sister Valentine, and even his brother Peter, who was absolutely horrible to him and eventually ends up ruling the world. There are bits of humor in here, and you get to see in certain places, like this one, you get to see inside the minds of the people who run the school. And they're usually only just a few paragraphs long, but it's an absolutely amazing way to see inside the people who are running it and that sort of thing. So yes, I read this once a year, sometimes more. I absolutely love it. If I'm really busy and I know I probably won't get to it, it's also amazing to listen to on books to tape. One of the very few books, I will actually say that about the people who read this. Fantastic. I usually end up forgetting my homework and just listening to the story. They did end up making this into a movie. And I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to say it probably a lot through these reviews. Please do not judge a book by its movie. I am dead serious. The movie was okay on its own, if you've never read the book. The movie was actually passable. But when compared to the book, it was a train wreck. A complete and utter train wreck. And they left out so much that a lot of things went completely unexplained. especially the relationship between Ender and Bean, was completely dropped. The relationship between Petra and Ender was completely dropped. And as a matter of fact, it was even twisted into a romance, which it wasn't in the book. So if you get the chance, this is something I would highly, highly recommend you read. On my scale of 1 to 10, this is a 12. Seriously, read this. Alright, so that's all for now, and I will see you next time I pick up a book.